Hello, thank you for joining us today on our first episode of Cottrell's Kitchen. Today we are going to make a cinnamon sticky apple bake. Essentially, it's just like apple pie filling, or you could just eat it as is, or even with some vanilla ice cream. It just kind of depends on what you want to do with it. You can even put a nice granola on it, make it a crumble if you want. Alright, super simple. Today all we need. Alright, starting off we're going to need 6 large apples. So you can use 5 if you want, depends on your preference. And then we need a tablespoon of lemon juice. For that, we're going to use a fresh lemon. Always better that way as is. And then we're going to need a 1/4 cup of light brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, and 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And then, so right now we're actually going to go ahead and get our oven preheated to 375 degrees so we can start everything else. Alright, now that we got our apples, they're freshly peeled and cored. As you can see, I used an apple core here. It does help a little bit with the prep. So what I'm going to do... Alright. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dice these up, and then we're going to add them to our large mixing bowl here. Alright, now that we have our apples all diced up, we're going to start adding in the dry ingredients that we need. So we're starting out with a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Going to be a tablespoon of granulated sugar. I know I said this earlier, but bear with me. Alright, and then we need 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Just going to go throw that in there. And then 2 teaspoons, which I'm going to use the same measuring. You can do more if you like cinnamon, a little extra cinnamon flavor like I do, but I think I'm just gonna be good with that today. All right, and then we need to make our tablespoon of lemon juice. All right, and so I don't have a juicer, unfortunately, yet anyway. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna squeeze the lemon into this bowl here and get it all over the place. Get the fresh lemon juice. Don't need all of this. Okay. More squeeze for good measure. Okay, we're good. Alrighty. And this is very inopportune how I'm doing this, I'm aware of it. And we throw that in there. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're actually going to mix this all together. So I'm going to grab a spoon here, a big spoon. I'm going to start. But yeah, we're going to give it a good mix, make sure everything's nice and evenly coated. Okay. Also going to make a mess while we're doing it too, because why not? Alright, and then when everything looks evenly coated, we're going to go ahead and throw it into our baking dish. Thank you. So we're going to throw this. Give it a nice even spread. Make sure it's all nice and level. So now that we have it in our baking dish, all nice and even, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this into thirds. It's not the most effective, but it goes on. Just put a dollop on each third of the thing, and now what we're going to do is we're going to cover it in tin foil. All right, now that we have it covered in tin foil, what we're going to do is we're going to throw it in the oven for 40 minutes. And what we're going to do is about every 15 minutes or so, we're going to take it out and we're going to stir it around. Alright, now that we got it put in the oven for about 40 minutes, we're going to check back in and let you guys know how it turns out. Alright, here we are. Just pulled it out of the oven, and I actually forgot to mention earlier we were supposed to let it cool for 10 minutes, which I just finished that process as well. So, anyway, alright, and here we are for the reveal. Alright, look at that. Okay. And see if we can stir. See if we can see what it looks like. Alright. And as I mentioned earlier, this makes a great apple pie filling as well. It is a little time consuming, but it's totally worth it, especially if you love cinnamon apples, and I do. This is actually one of my childhood favorites growing up. And you know, the fun thing about being an adult now is that I can do this on my own time. As long as I have the resources. But yeah. Alright. And then of course, all this liquid at the bottom, you gotta pour that in the bowl. You gotta make sure you pour that in the bowl. It goes good with vanilla ice cream, all that other stuff. I know I'm repeating, but I don't. Alright, and then yeah, you can even top it with just whipped cream and enjoy. Alright, thank you so much for joining us today on Cottrell's Kitchen. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and follow. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.